got the double fist combo going?
Yeah,
right now?
what? Yes. I'm getting I got the double fist Focus Aid and Fit Aid combo going. The Focus Aid I've always been into. A lot of people don't like this. I think they don't like the taste of the B vitamins that are in it.
Oh, I thought it was just the green tea. I'm not a huge green tea fan.
I'm not either.
Don't they put turmeric in, maybe not in that one, but I thought that was the ingredient in most of those.
Not this one. No.
It makes the taste kind of weird.
The Life Aid has the turmeric.
The Life
and
Aid.
so does the Fit Aid.
I love the Life Aid.
So the Focus Aid, like I like it. I like it for kind of a midday. I've always enjoyed the taste of it, but this Fit Aid Hawaiian Nectar.
I haven't tried that one yet.
You've not had this?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I'm not a huge stone fruit fan, which the other two out there. And so it's peach and then there's the mango. Then I saw that one. I was kind of turned off by that one because it says nectar and I wasn't sure if it was similar to the mango
like
and the peach.
Hawaiian punchy kind of.
Yeah, kind of like Pog, like the peach orange guava type of thing.
Yeah, I will mess with some Pog.
Passion fruit.
Yeah.
Passion fruit.
Orange. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. What did I say it was?
Peach.
Peach, yeah. No,
My
not
goodness, I
peach.
just said peach.
Yeah, it's like passion fruit. Anyway, yes. So I'm double fisting. I'm thirsty. And I'm
The thirst is real.
looking for my brain boost and my
Fitness
sports recovery all at the same time. So we'll work on that. Got to fix my brain. Speaking of fixing things, I just want to publicly acknowledge the work that Cece's been doing on the washer,
Kayla.
the washer dryer, and Kayla
And Kurt.
and Kurt, washer dryer here at
Takes a village.
at Red Dot Fitness. I walked into the back. There's tools. There's parts and pieces everywhere, and they're underneath.
We can rebuild it.
We're
Repairing
getting
it.
dirty and dusty, and we have duct tape out.
We'll find out if it's actually repaired or not. But just that was kind of cool to watch. It takes a village. Like
There is a lot. Yeah, there is a lot going back there. Going on back there. I haven't. I walk in and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this doesn't concern
There aren't
me.
any power tools though.
Yeah,
So.
that's you can't do that. Like I draw the line at the power tool
Whatever.
part.
The power drill. Oh, that's awesome. I love that power drill.
We'll move on. I think this leads more to like kind of my man side of like power drills in the hands of wrong people, whether it's males or females, is a big no-no. Listen, moving on to bigger and better things. I got a lot of questions offline specific to testosterone replacement when I did an episode with Chris Ellis. It's going back a ways now, but I hang out with, I talk to a lot of dudes that are plus 40, even the guys in that age range, and that's when these questions start to really come up if they weren't already coming up sort of late 30s. I think they're coming up a little bit earlier now because people are recognizing, oh shit, kind of 30 comes along and hormone production, just recovery, resiliency, you start to recognize like, yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. And so again, that HRT talk was a big one. I have my own experiences with it and spent time around it. But, in that, folks are starting to ask questions about testosterone boosters, not taking hormone replacement or not using hormone replacement therapy as the method, but maybe looking to more of an herbal solution, or we'll get into this. Maybe there's like some other stuff, like some black market stuff, or maybe even some pharmaceutical stuff, but that's not actual testosterone or labeled as like an anabolic steroid. So the herbal side of things, I wanted to have you in here, Stephen, and then Cece in here as well, because there has been quite a bit of research done on this stuff on the back end. And when I say herbal stuff, let's talk like Eastern medicine, like Ayurvedic medicine as well.
TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, yeah.
We've talked about this stuff before, and one of the things I learned a long time ago was never discount that. Like I am very much in the camp of let's look at all the things and figure out, kind of what we've learned over the years. And I tell you what, going back to the traditional Chinese medicine, they figured out a lot of things a long time ago. And a lot of people kind of looked at it as woo-woo or bullshit type of stuff. And what's proven out is that they
were observing things that were real.
Yeah, and they had their finger on the pulse, so to speak, of kind of what was going on. So I think there's some benefit to these things, but I don't think maybe they don't come out, the benefits aren't quite the same as what they're marketed to these people for. or in the way that they're marketed. And I just want to kind of clear this up for people because I find that to be a little bit of a different conversation. Because if you walk into a supplement store, any number of those chain stores that are out there, there's going to be a wall in there. There's going to be at least one section there that is full of this shit. Yeah. And I think
the men's health section.
The men's health section. Yeah. And look, when I say shit, I just mean there's just a lot of this product out there, and there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the product from a legitimacy perspective and from like a reality perspective. So maybe clear some of these things up because I think there's a lot of people out there that are interested. I dabbled a lot before I got into the HRT. And I even used some herbal stuff on top of the HRT that I'm on now. So I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. So let's talk about herbal testosterone boosters. What is that? What are they, Stephen? What can you tell us?
Well, I think the product that probably comes to mind and that I would get asked for the most often because of their, let's just call it what it is, obnoxious amount of marketing is Nugenics. I think most of us have heard of Nugenics before. Any television programming geared towards a male audience, it seems, any sports, there's going to be a constant stream of, right now it's Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie. They're the sports stars of the past.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
haven't heard that name.
They're old dudes.
Yeah. And there's a press conference and Frank Thomas is up there and, the actor's like, Big Hurt, how'd you get your spunk back? Right. and then we go into Nugenics that is supposed to, increase testosterone. It increases, strength, helps you lose weight. It does all of the things that
all of the things
that testosterone is supposed to do. So we have recognition, most men recognize that there is going to be some inevitable age-related decline when it comes to testosterone. And in that age range that you were talking about, call it 35 and up, somewhere in there, start noticing some things, maybe gaining some weight, maybe not quite as strong in the gym anymore, not recovering as well. Libido isn't the same, just maybe not quite as virile.
All of the things.
Yeah. And okay, my testosterone maybe is low. I think this is, and then where some men go astray is they don't actually ever get their testosterone measured. Right. They don't actually get the blood work done to really look under the hood and know what's going on. They just maybe feel a little, I think my testosterone is low.
Yeah, and they can't really put their finger on, but all of those things you just described are all in combination, so they can't really kind of put their, I'm just not feeling right. Like I just don't have the same drive I had. All of those things. Yeah.
This question that I have right now, I don't know how applicable it is, but I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, well, women experience the same thing.
100%.
How come this stuff I don't ever hear marketed towards women?
We will actually get into that. Some of these ingredients actually are beneficial for both.
Okay.
For both.
But you're right. You don't see.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I couldn't think of somebody.
What athlete would you put in a pretend press conference, female athlete, to talk about, decreases in testosterone or estrogen?
I haven't heard any women talk about it.
I know I'm being facetious. It's totally facetious. I don't think you're ever going to. Yeah, I just think it's not being talked about. Do you ever talk to your friends about your hormones?
Yes.
In what way? Like what's the typical female conversation around hormones?
Feeling tired and not having much of a sex drive, feeling like I'm gaining weight, not having the energy to get through a workout, collapsing at night. The things that we've been talking about as far as for the men.
Right. Sounds very, very familiar. Yep. And it's all the same things. It really is. I think the way it's handled in the social groups or whatever else may be a little bit different. And I also think that from the medical perspective, what you just described has been treated more historically or more, what's the word I'm looking for? Traditionally through medication, right? When we're starting to, give hormone replacement to females as they're reaching, perimenopause or menopause. So
I think women tend to have a better understanding of maybe the contributing factors to these types of symptoms and maybe a better understanding. Again, this is just maybe from my perspective, being in the supplement industry. They have a better understanding of some of the underlying factors that are causing these hormone changes and are maybe more willing to look into those factors and maybe more willing to look into the clinical side of things. Whereas men are, I'm just going to take care of it on my own.
Yeah, it's almost
to the supplement store, let me get this. I'm gonna take care of it. Nobody's gonna know about it. Nobody needs to know that I'm quote unquote struggling with this.
That is a very good point, man. I think you nailed it, actually. In that, it's okay to talk about it in maybe female circles as we're having a hot flash on the other side of the table right now. I can't believe you walked in this room with that sweatshirt on anyway. It's already hot in here. And yes, she's going to be naked here in a minute.
No.
She's fanning the pits. Fanning the pits. Those of you watching on YouTube will just pan to Steven. But I think it's more acceptable to talk about it, and also to just, I don't know, accept, but also admit that you are having hormone challenges as a female. As you get older versus men, it's like, ooh, that's not good. Because by saying that means you're less, right? Or you are getting old. You are less virile.
You're weak.
And so your manhood or your man card is being, challenged or being exposed. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, I think there is a guilt about it that some men experience. And I think that's, sort of just the male culture is competitive in general. Not that female culture is not, but yeah. So
hence putting the athletes on stage in a make-believe press conference / commercial and saying, hey, here's your heroes. These guys, if these guys are doing it, even guys like this.
Exactly. So that's the kind of like, it's okay. You can, you can acknowledge this issue that you're having.
And of course there's an answer, and we'll sell it to you.
And it's called Nugenics.
Right.
Powered by Testofen. Patented key ingredient.
Whatever the fuck that is.
But so that, often on the retail floor in the supplement store, hey, do you guys have Nugenics? Do you guys have something like that? I heard that might kind of be of help for me. And these are products, that are marketed as testosterone boosters. That's typically what they're called, test something, or, something related to, I don't know, some kind of virility or manly macho thing, to give you back, that, we'll call it chutzpah, that you had in your 20s. And the common ingredients, are usually herbal ingredients that are purported to naturally, the word, of course, we all love natural, naturally increase testosterone. Some common ingredients, tribulus, I would say, is probably the most common ingredient. You see ashwagandha quite a bit. You see fenugreek quite a bit. You see, I know, thanks to Joe Rogan and Huberman, I think both, Tonkat Ali, aka Long Jack, another word for it. That's a very common ingredient as well. D-Aspartic Acid, I think, doesn't get talked about enough. Sometimes that's in the products. And then the products will also tend to have some type of like estrogen modulator in there as well. Because I think that's also, my testosterone's getting lower. My estrogen must be getting higher. I haven't had any of this actually measured. This is just what I think is going on in my head. So there are, quote unquote, natural estrogen blockers in a lot of the products as well. That's DIM is kind of the big one. DIM, Chrysin is another one that are supposed to improve estrogen metabolism and clean your estrogen, things like that. These products are really, really popular. I would get asked for them all the time. And I had a lot of guys that were repeat buyers, and that they were sold that this was really, really doing something for them.
I think it's, again, I want to make sure we're being clear about this. Is like, there could be a lot of benefit to for some people, but obviously you can never say it works for everybody. Everybody's an individual. And again, going back to how long these things have been used and studied over years, centuries for that matter, like there's going to be some truth to this. But at the same time, it's like anytime there's maybe any ounce of truth in something that can be sold for a high amount of money, it just gets stretched and blown way out of proportion. But I think you did a really good job there, sort of just kind of outlining, hey, here's what some of the things are that you might see on the back of the bottle. If you've ever been into the store and turned it over, guaranteed any type of estrogen booster, or let's just say sexual enhancer, they fall into kind of a few different categories, like revive. You hear them all different types of terms. Anything that could catch your eye, right, or your ear, to get you to pick it up, to think like, okay, this is going to give me, as you termed it, like my chutzpah back, right, in some type of way. I'm not feeling it today. I mean, going to any liquor store, drugstore now, and behind the counter, you've got all the, all the herbal
enhancement
pills, sexual enhancement pills that are back there, right? And then and they all have this stuff in them, in some form or another. So again, I don't want to take away from there is some legitimacy to this, but again, it's very hard to quantify that legitimacy based on studies and based on a lot of what you just said, which is like, what was the baseline for the people that started taking this? What were the other factors like that went into this, and what can we actually measure here? And that becomes a challenge. But it doesn't mean that there isn't some benefit that can be gained from these, just because it's a little tougher to measure this stuff. So I think that's an important thing to recognize.
Yeah, and I think it's, as it is with most supplements, managing your expectations is going to be the most important factor. You know, if I'm going into a supplement store and I think this test booster is going to increase my free testosterone in a similar fashion to TRT,
right,
you are tripping. You're absolutely tripping. And all of the benefits that can come with a true significant boost in free testosterone, you are most likely not going to get those types of benefits. So I think calling it a testosterone booster when many of these products are more than likely not going to actually boost your free testosterone at all,
right?
It's a misnomer. But when I was, it was my job to sell these things, but I didn't like to, bullshit with people. I would call them more like vitality boosters.
I was going to say, so.
That's a good way to look at it. I think that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you're the salesperson in the store. There's some benefit that could be gained by these. What they're calling them probably isn't the right thing. So let's call it more probably what it is. That's a really good way of looking at it, because I think that opens up the question I would have for you is like, in what way could it improve your vitality? Let's ixnay the whole boost your testosterone.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to the show at all, or, a lot of shows or whatever, that there are a lot of factors to testosterone levels, or let's just say hormone levels, period. It's never one thing. It's usually there's a whole host of things that go into managing these things, and also having this balance. And then also the things that will downregulate it and upregulate it, be it endogenously or exogenously. So that's a really good way of looking at it. So what are the types of things that these things do to improve vitality and maybe boost your testosterone?
Yeah. So we can start with probably the most common ingredient in test boosters, which is Tribulus terrestris, which is
horny goat weed.
Yeah, part of the. That's actually different.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought they were the same.
Epimedium, I believe.
Okay,
is the word for it.
You usually see them together.
Yeah, but yeah, horny goat weed, it can deliver what it promises. Make your goat horny. But yeah, Tribulus is used in Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, and there is research suggesting that Tribulus can improve cholesterol. It can improve your blood sugar as well. So there can be some actual metabolic benefits to it, but the research in regard to actually increasing testosterone is, not very solid. There's not a lot of evidence that it actually increases your testosterone. That said, it can also increase your libido. And that, I think, is one of the biggest things that there is quite a bit of evidence that these products will boost your libido. They can actually boost fertility, motility, so sperm motility as well as fertility, and boost your libido. And in my experience, that was really what the men who were coming to me were actually looking for. That was maybe what they were noticing is missing. And that was, this must mean my testosterone is low, because my sex drive is not the same. My ability to get an erection is not the same. My sexual stamina is not the same. My testosterone must be getting low. And they come in and they get these herbal products and, hey, here we go.
Right.
We're back in the game. So it's working. It must be increasing my testosterone.
I was right. My testosterone was low.
Yeah. And this is now increasing my testosterone, and now my problem is better.
So it's stretched to say that it's boosting your testosterone, but you're getting an effect that could be synonymous with.
Suggests that, my testosterone. Again, this whole time we're not actually measuring testosterone. That is that's
all qualitative.
This is all anecdotal, kind of thing. So, but again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so, these customers would be satisfied with their purchase because they really got what they were actually looking for. So at the end of the day, is it a bad thing? No.
Just goes back to the whole term test booster.
Yeah. That, I think that is the part of it that is troubling, or like I said, is a misnomer. Some of these herbs can also increase your, your physical stamina, give you a little bit of energy, maybe help your metabolism a little bit. Fenugreek is another one that's in a lot of these test boosters. Um, Lactating mothers use fenugreek, and it works quite well. Fenugreek has multiple health benefits. Blood sugar control is another one. So if we're improving our blood sugar control, it's possible we're improving our metabolic health in general, which could potentially help you lose weight if you are also dieting right, if you are also exercising, and I'm losing weight now. I'm a little slimmer. I'm feeling a little better in the gym. My testosterone must have come back.
Right.
But is that really what's happening?
Yeah, we're looking at like causation, correlation, and kind of also just imagination. Like, well, I think this sounds good, right? Yeah. So, and again, there's the old placebo effect. There's a lot of value in that. There can be a lot of value in that. So,
yeah. And I think improving some of these metabolic markers could actually increase your 100%. Testosterone, improve your testosterone as a secondary benefit.
Going back to the sticky web of managing all of this in the first place, and tweaking this dial or turning this dial over here, and how that impacts the system over here, it could be a lot of benefit from that.
Yeah. So I don't think the products are necessarily scams. I think there are ones that are better than others, just like in any supplement category. There are brands and there are products that are better, and there are brands that suck and products that suck. So I don't discount them as being useless, definitely. But I guess the question then becomes, okay, will these boost my testosterone at all? Like, will these actually provide the benefit that they say they provide? And there's two ingredients that stand out to me that have the most evidence, I would say, would be D-Aspartic Acid and the Tongkat Ali.
Let's talk about them.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Tongkat Ali first.
So yeah, that one has been popularized, and as we already mentioned, some very big podcast hosts talked about that. And if Huberman says it as the national scientist, it's gold.
Wait, I thought that was Fauci.
Oops. It's actually Andrew.
Oh, gotcha.
He's actually interviewing the Surgeon General.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. That should be an interesting conversation. But in any case, yeah, we've heard him and Joe Rogan talk about Tongkat Ali, aka Long Jack is also another word for it. That has the most significant research that it may actually increase testosterone. But the caveat again there is the research is mostly in older sedentary men who already have low T, versus if I am a 27-year-old and I'm trying to get a natural anabolic, it's probably not going to actually affect your testosterone very much. But someone who's already deep in the hole, that's where we see the most benefit from Tongkat Ali.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing about some of these other things too, is when you get into the Eastern medicine side of things, when would these things start to become used? And again, you're going back to your customer in the store. I would imagine it was kind of I have no idea, but I would imagine it's the same sort of, I don't know, 200, 300 years ago, where dudes are getting a little older, they're feeling a little less drive, and these herbs start to come into play. You're not taking these things when you're 25 years old looking for gains.
Yeah.
You're taking them when you're 45 years old because you're looking for a little pick-me-up in the bedroom, or whatnot. And you're feeling an immediate result. And then obviously that can get imagined into a lot of other things, as we've already discussed. But the interesting part about the Tongkat Ali is that it has had this sort of surge in popularity, and it's been looked at and studied quite a bit more. And there is some research out there that suggests that it can impact follicle stimulating hormone as well as luteinizing hormone, which then could help manage or help with testosterone production. This is, again, there's not a lot of hard science around this, and it's not, again, you can't call it a testosterone booster. You could say it could be playing, it could be playing in the world of managing other hormones, which could then impact and thereby benefiting, your testosterone production or your body's ability to produce and utilize testosterone. So that's different than I don't know. Again, test booster, that's like a made up term. So again, that's I think that's the point we're trying to make here. But that Tonkat Ali has quite a few. At this point, I think it's gaining some respect, and I don't think you can write that one off.
Yeah, I think it would be, if taken, from a reliable source in the right dosage, it could be a net positive, for you to add. But again, managing your expectations. It's probably going to have, you're going to see more benefits as an older man whose testosterone is already dropping, versus, I would occasionally have guys in their 20s looking for gains, but no, I'm kind of scared of the gear.
Right.
Is there another way that I can get, an edge on my buddies or whatever when we're, trying to PR at the gym, ego lifting more or less. That individual probably not going to see much change. I mean, I took it when I was like 20 because, again, it was baseball teammate, big lifter guy. We may or may not have other guys on the team who were, using some more advanced techniques to increase their strength and things of that nature.
Advanced techniques. I wouldn't know anything about those.
Yeah. and I had a teammate, suggest Tonkat Ali to me when I was, at that age when my testosterone was probably already about as high as it was ever
going to be.
And I did not, I don't think I noticed much of a difference.
Yeah. So you're making a strong point. I mean, I opened this up with guys that are, over the 40 mark that I talk to a lot that are looking for, basically asking the same questions. They're not really quite sure about the TRT, HRT route yet. And then I also mentioned that I do take a product that includes some of these things as kind of a backup or a supplement, not to boost my testosterone, but to help with the management. And again, these purported benefits of helping with the management of balancing out the hormones in general. And so I think one of the upsides to this stuff is that, unless you're taking mega doses of it, there really isn't like a downside. That's known as the same with the upsides. We don't know a lot about the upsides. There doesn't really seem to be much of a downside to this. If you're taking the suggested dosage and from a reputable, and we can talk about that a little bit. So I take a male hormone support supplement. We're going to talk about maybe brands and things like that here in a minute. But like what's a good product versus a bad product, or where might you go, on the shelf or in a store on the interweb to find this stuff. But again, like if you're up there in age and you're looking for, something, and you're not in this, the HRT game yet, this may be a place to start, taking a product with that. And a lot of them now come in like compounded type of formulations. Let's call it formulation. So it's not just one. You're not going to the shelf looking for just Tonkat Ali. It's coming with the Tribulus. It's coming with
usually mixed
blend
together.
The
next thing you were talking about was the D-Aspartic Acid, which is one that's not talked about a lot. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that one I think is kind of unsung in that it actually is. There is some solid evidence, particularly for fertility, was what I saw the most significant evidence for. That, like, yes, this can actually really, if you are struggling to get pregnant, this can actually really help. And there's been, evidence that it actually can really improve fertility. D-Aspartic acid it's an amino acid. There's actually two forms. There's the D form and the L form. The D form is the one that may lead to some increases in testosterone. It basically can help with the release of precursor hormones. So, similar to the Tonkat Ali in that it can help with the release of precursor hormones in the brain. It also, D-Aspartic acid is also active in the testicles, where some testosterone type of things happen. In case you weren't aware.
That's an important spot.
Yeah, it's a pretty key area. So D-Aspartic acid is one that I think, and you can take D-Aspartic acid by itself, but I think that would be one alongside Tonkat Ali that has the most evidence that it may actually do what it says in terms of boosting testosterone or just providing some genuine health benefits that could solve the issues that you're looking to solve.
Right.
Regardless of whether your free testosterone is actually increasing.
Is increasing or not. Yeah. And again, there's benefit to this, right? Because if you feel like we've talked about this before too, like placebo effect or not, or even, again, you're getting these benefits of these actual effects of, more sexual, drive.
Prowess.
Yeah. And all the things that come along with that can do a fucking lot for your head. Like, and I mean the other head, the one that's between your ears, right? And feeling more positive and feeling more drive and getting you out of bed and getting you to the gym and helping you want to eat a little healthier and driving maybe a little motivation as well, and kind of help you get back on track. Like, I think, I talk to a lot of dudes, and even a little bit of help there you can get a lot of mileage with that, and a long way. And then let's not leave out the fact that could help the relationship that you're in, for one of the reasons you're taking that supplement in the first place. Look, when everybody's happy at home that way, like, life is better.
Yeah, things align a little bit.
Things are generally, it's a better way to live. So, can't take that away. So, again, we're kind of looking at like these combinations of things and how they can help people. And it's never one thing, right? There's a lot of things. So, and again, but to your point, like, don't expect like your free testosterone to go from 300 to 800. That's not what this is. Yeah. That's not what this is. Let's talk about like the sourcing. Like we were talking about, like, there's good versus the bad. I use those terms in air quotes. Like, if I was going to go look for this stuff, where would I find it? Like, how should I be looking for it? I guess those are kind of the major questions. I mean, they were coming to you before when you were in the retail store. Like, what were the things that you were looking for in a label or from a company, from a product perspective that could give some people some direction here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little hard to unwind because there's so many different brands.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of brands that I'm sure, have done a fairly good job and are fairly reputable that I've never even heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to shout out specific brands to suggest that other brands suck, because there are probably, there's good options out there. But I mean, I guess in terms of where to find, these types of products, I would say like a Vitamin Shop. I think Vitamin Shop does a good job of vetting their products. I would say Vitamin Shop probably does a better job than GNC does of vetting their products.
Mm-hmm.
And you can reasonably trust that products in Vitamin Shop are, at least what they say they are on the label. They're, pretty transparent. When you come to, the kind of the independently owned, like mom and pop supplement stores, that I think can vary.
Yeah.
That can vary because there's going to be a lot less oversight in a store like that. And it kind of really depends on who you're seeing.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely some shady individuals that, are willing to do some under the table type of dealings or have products on the shelves that
What's the margin?
Are sketchy.
Oh, this gives me 100% margin. This one gives me 150% margin.
Exactly.
I'm going to take the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one when you're walking into a store. That was a challenge I always had, and I always like made it a point to go to the smaller supplement shops and get to know the owner. And once I knew I just built that relationship. So, and it would be like if I was coming to your store, like, Steven's the guy I come to see. Like, I know, like, they know they're going to have to see me again, right? So if they're selling me some shit and I know what, and they know reasonably well that I kind of know what I'm talking about or looking at, that, they know I'm going to come back in and we're going to have a conversation or whatever else. And I could ask them very, very upfront, like, hey man, compare these products. What do you think about this? What have you heard? Or, I read this, what's your feedback? Now that doesn't mean you're going to get a highly educated, highly qualified answer. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like when you develop those relationships with those people, I think it puts you maybe in a little bit better position for them to pass the sniff test or not. Is this bullshit or isn't it? Or give you something to walk away with and think about, right? From a research perspective, to maybe dig a little deeper to find out a little bit more about the company that, is behind the supplement or where they're sourcing things. Because where it's sourced is important.
Absolutely.
It is 100% probably one of the most important things. The source of where those supplements are coming from in any case is very important. Because that then leads into the efficacy of what's actually in that herb, or that vitamin mineral complex or whatever else. So, the sourcing is important. And then once you kind of get with companies that take that stuff very, very seriously, then you can worry less about like what getting out of it, what says it's in the bottle, if you know what I mean, like from a dosage perspective, because obviously that is the next very important part. Like, how much am I actually getting of the active ingredient?
Yeah. So I think you can, in terms of vetting brands, looking at the track record of the brand is going to be important. Which, again, I know I said that there's thousands of brands out there. Most of the time, the flim flam brands, they don't last very long. So usually the brands that have been around for a while have a track record. They have good reviews. It just seems like a reputable organization in general. The website doesn't look janky, like they're, third-party testing. They maybe have some types of certifications or, things like that. Those are things to look for. But yeah, usually companies that are well-established, have a good track record, fairly well-known, reputable, you at least have a better, a better chance of getting a product that is what it says. And you can, to your point, not have to worry so much. Well, this one has 100 milligrams of tribulus and this one has 200 milligrams. Right. Which one should I take? You can at least somewhat trust that they've done a good job on the formulation side of things, that you don't have to worry so much about the idiosyncrasies of the formula itself. Like, well, if I'm just using a brand that comes to mind, if NutriBio made it, I can reasonably expect that this is a good product.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And it takes some time to figure that out. If you're new to this or you have no idea, everybody at this table, and I think a lot of people listening, understand how overwhelming it can be walking into a store, to a place where you literally know nothing and you're kind of buying
thousands of bottles on the wall.
Thousands. And you're buying kind of blindly. And this one costs $42.99 and this one is $26.99. But they say they have the same amount, of ingredients in it. What is really going on here? That's a lot for somebody to handle. I over the years have tried a lot of things and worked, and tried a lot of brands. I've even worked with a few brands in my history in the business, and unfortunately had some really bad experiences, but I've also had some really great ones. And the great ones have always come from, again, building relationships with the people inside those brands. And the brands that I had really bad experiences with, I still had a good relationship with the people inside those brands, and ultimately those people left that brand. Like I didn't need to find out another way. A lot of times I was like, hey man, just want to let you know I'm leaving this company, or I'm not representing this company anymore. I'm moving on to a different one, or I'm moving on, or whatever. And then in the course of the conversation, without bad-mouthing them, or without that person bad-mouthing that company unprofessionally, I got the gist. Like, oh,
there's a reason I'm leaving.
There's a reason I'm leaving. And whether that's bad people behind the company or a bad product behind the stuff that they were selling, like that was good enough for me to kind of move on and just know. And I get that a lot of people obviously don't have that insight, but we have partnered with a couple of people in our tenure here as a company over a long vetting process, and people that you've even worked with closely too, Stephen. And there's a few brands that we do like, and there's a couple of things to think about going back to the brands. If you're not walking into a store, supplements exist everywhere. I mean, the online ordering or supplement industry is ridiculous. Again, talk about overwhelming walking into a store, getting online.
Doing a Google search.
If you're already Google searching Tongarali, like,
you're going to get about 7,000 options of brands.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's like, how are you shopping? Like, are you shopping based on knowledge? You based on price, convenience, all of those things that go in there. So I like brands that specifically pay very close attention to all the things we've already talked about, as well as like where there are clinical studies done on these things, that you're getting what we would refer to as like clinical dosages. So like, this is what we know. Like, of all the things that we don't know, we know a little bit more about this particular part of this. And so when we put together these formulations, we're looking at all the clinical studies and we're starting to put some things together that we feel comfortable, makes a good product, right?
What dosing's efficacious kind of thing.
All that stuff. And then obviously, like, if we're doing that, we're going to make really sure that we're getting it from the right places. It's sourced properly, and what's in the bottle, what the label on the bottle says is what's in the bottle. Those are places that generally have obviously very good reputations, and they have them through several different levels of market segments. And so whether that's through supplement retail supplement stores or some type of an online sales platform, or working through like physicians that have a lot to lose by giving somebody something that is not doesn't meet the
board,
doesn't meet the criteria. They have a lot to lose there. And again, there's several doctors out there that probably don't give a shit if they make money on it, they're going to do it. But I think that's for us, the people that we've worked with, we know they do give a shit, including my personal physician that deals with some of this stuff. They fall more into like the category of like nutraceuticals, and that's a little bit of a different thing than supplements. We've actually covered that on the show before, but they may deal in those in that realm. And so we have a couple of brands that we really like. One of those products I take, it's called Libido Stim. You can find it on our website. If you go to rdfsupplements.com, you will see the ones that we recommend specifically that are targeted for hormones, if that's what you're looking for. And to Cece's point, there's also there's a female
libido stim.
Libido Stim, there that you can find. And again, they're calling a libido stim, not a testosterone booster, right? And it includes all the things that Stephen mentioned, the Toncadale, the DIM, the Chrysin. There's a couple of other things in there as you look at it, but all of those things, and they're doing it in dosages, and you can rest assured that what it says is in the bottle is in the bottle. And so again, like for people that are looking for an answer, we do have that there. If you, again, rdfsupplements.com, you can go there, check it out. We have them categorized, whether you want like a foundational essential type supplement, or you want like a hormone regulating type supplement. So sort of what we're talking about today. There's also sports specific supplements, or what we'll call targeted compounds, that may go after other things. If you're looking for like metabolic support, adrenal support. Yeah. There's all different types of things in there. We try not to put too much on there to overwhelm people. We gave people some comparison contrast, and it's an easy way to find out. There's no fluff there, and you also will get the discounts are built in. So like we've already discounted the stuff. You'll find it as inexpensive as you can find anywhere else.
For brands of that quality, for sure.
And they are higher quality. I mean, period, end of story. The ones I trust are the ones we recommend to our clients here every day and have for a long time. The ones we put in our bodies. Mm-hmm. So those are the, if you're curious and you want to look into these a little bit deeper, that's a great place to go. We try to make it as easy as we can. But as always, you can always reach out to us if you have questions. There's a contact page there if you got a question for Steven or whatever about, hey, dude, I don't understand what this is. Or could this help me? We also have a
supplement guide as well. So
we do. Yep. If you go to rdfguides.com, you can find our supplement guide that sort of covers all of the different types of things that are out there in those categories I mentioned and the ones that we recommend. Again, going back, you can get some links to get some discounts and things on those things. But these are high quality supplements that are generally only sold direct through practitioners or somebody that has a very, very specific resale license through these companies. It's actually not easy to do. They make you jump through a lot of rings and hoops in order to be able to resell these things.
Not everyone can sell these brands.
Yeah, they're exactly. So you're probably not going to find them in the place in fact, you're not going to find them
GNCs,
walking into where Steve
Target or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely not your independent mom and pop kind of.
And you're not going to find them on the shelves at Costco. Don't buy your supplements there. Anyhow, that said, that's kind of the legitimate piece of we're talking about herbal enhancers or hormone regulating type supplements that can bring some value to the table. But Stephen brought it up at the beginning. There's kind of a dark side to all of this, this outlier stuff that exists that I wanted to talk about. Because people, they do ask me this. It's usually the younger guys asking me this question, and you want to cover this?
Yeah. I mean, I think you will not find the types of brands that we carry at RDF at these shady mom and pop type of spots. But what you will find is the backroom shit. Usually like the sketchy pre-workouts that have like amphetamines in them, those will probably still be on the shelf, but maybe in like a case or maybe something behind the counter, the forbidden zone, the forbidden stuff. You may find some things like pro-hormones or like SARMs. I think pro-hormones more so had their time in the sun late 90s, early 2000s.
Dude, I used to take those things by the
Is that the brand name?
fistful. No.
Androgains.
Yeah. Androstenedione. God, there was like 5 of them and we couldn't get enough.
Yeah. And then the Steroid Act came into play, and then those got kind of cleared out. So prohormones, they still exist. It's not it's a category basically of those are more akin, I would say, to true anabolic steroids than SARMs, which SARMs are a little different. SARMs, selective androgen receptor modulators. So let's say they're certainly not herbal. These are synthetic. So that's the first thing to understand.
Made in a lab.
Yeah, these are made in a lab. These are synthetic. These are chemicals. These are not herbs. You are not going to find Rad 140 growing out of the ground. The history of them is primarily as failed research chemicals. So these were drugs that were in clinical trials that failed somewhere along the way because they caused some type of side effect, or they caused, they raised some type of flag.
Red flag. Yep.
So your Testosterone, Ostarine, Andarine, kind of like the main homies of SARMs, were invented actually for people who had like cancer, AIDS, other like muscle wasting type of diseases to help prevent some of that muscle wasting. So they were actually created for clinical application and in their ability to preserve muscle mass in people who were essentially wasting away with very serious diseases. But
there was some pretty gnarly side effects.
Along the way, there was, some type of
concern.
Yeah, some type of concern. Sometimes it was that at just like obscenely high doses in rats,
right?
They killed the rat.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that in all kinds of studies. Like if you give this much sucralose to a rat, like, it might fuck it up. Like 900 times the amount that you would get in, a serving, like a Coke, a Diet Coke or something like that.
Yeah. So, but when we would like to think that, clinical trials are rigorous and are weeding out things that might hurt us. Although sometimes things seem to make it to the market.
I think there's a lot of distrust there, man.
They get they get pushed through a little bit. But that is the history of most SARMs. SARMs are not really, they're not legal. They're not really illegal. It's a gray area type of product.
Yeah, so talk about how they work. So you said selective androgen receptor modulators.
So they selectively attach to the androgen receptor, which is, without getting too much into the weeds, the idea is that it is less harmful for other systems of the body than DECA, D-ball or something like that. That these methylated compounds that jack up your liver, that raise your cholesterol, that increase your blood pressure, all of the potential negative downstream effects of real gear, anabolic steroids. So it's, some people might see them as sort of like steroids light. Like I want an edge beyond what a herbal test booster can provide me, but I'm not willing to go all the way, to the real stuff, quote unquote. And that is usually those like 20-something guys that are looking for gains. They're trying to get jacked, but maybe they don't have access to the quote unquote real stuff. They don't have the money for it,
or they're working. They could be working a job where they're drug tested, or they're being watched. Like things are frowned upon. Like, look, if you're in law enforcement or you're a first responder, like needles are not generally looked upon kindly. Like if you can't get a prescription for certain things, like, and obviously if you're looking towards the anabolic route, you're probably not getting a prescription for that. However, some people do. These are things that, you can potentially put in your system, and we've seen it happen. The military, it's another case for that. Guys in the service or people in the service that are looking for an edge. There's a huge population of people there that want an edge for lots of reasons. That's one place. They, like, as you mentioned, they're not illegal, but they're not exactly legal. Like if you had them, it's not against the law to have them. Selling them on the open market, that's an issue. However, there's a lot of loopholes and a lot of ways around that, and they are available. I mean, just to be honest, I mean, just do a Google search and you'll find somebody that's willing to sell you something. But as what happens with even the legal, like not really expensive stuff to process or produce and high margin stuff, where there's a opportunity to rip somebody the fuck off, people are going to do that. And when you're talking about synthetic compounds that you're putting in your system, that's there's certainly risk factors there. Like, what are you getting? What are you getting?
You really have no idea when it comes to SARMs, what you're getting. Really have no idea, because that is the trade-off that you're making when you're wading into the gray area products. You're more than likely going to be dealing with, shady characters.
Unknown,
people who are willing to operate on the margins, doing something that's not exactly really legal or above.
Yeah, they're taking the raw material and they're stepping on it 10 times before it gets to you, just like any other potentially illegal or illegal, like illicit drug trade or trafficking. Somebody's got to make money. Everybody has to make money along the line. So again, how many people were in front of that product before it got to you? Again, how many times did it get stepped on?
Yeah, because there is an inherent risk in manufacturing these products and getting shut down and getting busted. Yeah, they're gonna try to stretch their profits to meet their level of risk that they're taking on. So
the question, though, I got a question: do they work? Can I get gains though, Stephen?
They sometimes, and that really, it's kind of a crapshoot. I have some experience with them myself, and I've had ones that seem to work better and others that did not seem to work as well, because you really don't know exactly what you're getting. You can maybe try to see reviews, things like that, but there's also the risk that you're running. You mentioned, if you're in law enforcement or someplace where you're getting drug tested, that these are stepped on with something that's going to pop a drug test. So you're like, yeah, these fucking work. I'm like, yeah, it's because there's trend in them.
Yeah. It's your trend out, bro.
Yeah, that's why they're working so well. So that can be, a potential there, or it could be the exact opposite of trend. It could be rice flour.
Right.
And you spent, usually they're going to be more expensive. A bottle of SARMs is going to cost twice as much as eugenics.
Right.
And yeah, you may be getting blanks basically.
Well, I will tell you this. So here's a little background with me and the SARMs is, as I've told my story before, so I'm not gonna tell it again, and going down my journey to understand, where my hormones were and what was going on with me metabolically, hormonally, and trying to come up with a solution and an answer to the problems and the issues that I was having. SARMs entered the picture. Now, think about this. Like, I was in a bad place. Like, and I was looking for an answer. Like, all the symptoms that we've already mentioned here: low libido, tired, not recovering, grouchy, feeling like very little drive, all of the stuff. And I was putting my finger on it, going, dude, I'm fucked up. Something's wrong here. My test must be low. So where am I going to go? I'm going to go to the place that's, what can I get? Well, SARMs at the time were not so frowned upon. They were very, very new. This is going back 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, a little bit more, actually, about 11 years ago. You could find them on the shelf at your local supplement store. And I had those relationships with those guys. I was like, dude, give me the good stuff. And they did. And I don't know, really what the impacts of that were. I just know I wasn't getting any better. I was only getting worse. Again, those that have heard my story, I was going down a very, very deep, dark spiral into a place that I had to dig myself out of. So when I wound up in the doctor's office and the blood tests were coming back and things like that, people are, very, very quickly, I stopped doing stuff. I was like, oh, something's really wrong here. And I have to wipe the slate clean and come back. Yeah. So eliminate everything that could potentially be impacting me. So I don't know. I just know I wasn't getting any better. So were the SARMs part of that or not? I have no idea. I can't say that it were, so I'm not going to say they're good or bad. I'm just, to your point, I mean, there's a lot of things to be in question there. If you're really concerned about your health and your wellness, this is the implications of taking something that's built in somebody's kitchen sink or their garage.
Buyer beware.
Boca Raton.
Yeah. You should really be careful there, and you should really think long and hard about that. Yeah, but I get that people are looking for this edge, and they're looking for the increase in something. They want an answer, and oftentimes they want to reach immediately to the supplements. I just want to come over the top on this and say, look, like if you're feeling like you have low testosterone, you're reaching for some type of a booster, like the first place you should be going to is not the supplement store. And I know it's way easy to do this. It's very easy to go in and hand somebody your debit card or whatever, and walk out with a $120 receipt for a 30-day supply of, man in a bottle.
Yeah.
But that it doesn't work that way, and it never has, and it never will. You're not different. There are things you should be addressing first, way before that, and we talk about them all the time on this show. Obviously your nutrition, your diet, your adequacy of things that you're putting in your system, the exercise, your stress and sleep management, all of that stuff's impacting your testosterone way more, or could be way more than any herbal supplement or SARMs that you're going to take. Period. End of story. Unless you're, putting exogenous testosterone in your system, none of those things are going to give you that kind of a boost. There's no evidence that says that shows us that. So think about that. Let's be logical about this.
Well, if you're going to spend that money on going into a supplement store on that type of a product, you might as well take that money and go have a blood test done.
100% agree.
Go see someone.
Yeah. At the same time, look, if you're just looking to have an exciting night in the bedroom and you need a little pick me up, there's plenty of supplements out there that'll help you with that, like herbal supplements that'll help you with that. They're more or less, they're not harmful, right? You can do it.
Because you don't need it doesn't mean it's not fun.
That's right. And at the same time, like, ask yourself a question: are you dependent on this? Because if you're dependent on this, maybe there's a little bit of deeper level, something we need to be paying attention to here. And again, going to Johnny's Liquor on the corner and buying the Rhino tabs, that $14 Rhino tab or whatever it is from behind the thing. You know what's so funny about this?
Nosebleed, it's good.
We have the shadiest little liquor. It's not even a liquor store because they don't have a liquor license. They says they're a liquor store, but they're not. It disappoints people all the time.
They don't have.
They don't have liquor. They couldn't get their liquor license. Yeah, because the people across the street ran interference on that have so much pull with the city. Anyways, I walk through that parking lot on occasion because I'll park in the public parking lot across from there, and there's not a day that goes by where there's not 3 or 4 of those
packages,
dick pill packages that have been unwrapped in the thing. They're literally in the same spot. I'm like, did one guy take all of those at one time? Like, he must be walking around in pain.
He's ready to rock, yeah.
But my point is like, I see them all the time, so there must be some validity to those things.
Yeah, no, I mean, those types of products were exceptionally popular.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They kept the business up.
How much does one of those things cost?
I mean,
what do they retail for?
Between I don't know, $6 and $15 maybe, somewhere in there. But you save if you actually get the 10-pack, or you save even more if you get the 20-pack. And what I can do for you is I can give you 2 of the 20s for $100 instead of $60 each. Does that sound good, Mr. Johansson?
Sounds like a fucking racket. And look, it looks like there's levels to this too. Time, size, and stamina. I mean, it says it right here on
Some of them have some pretty fun names.
20 pills. 20 pills retails at $180. And this particular set is selling them at 54% off for $82.99.
It's a swinging deal.
It's the Platinum 900K Rhino 7 fast-acting, long-lasting, time-size stamina. Get into the R zone with rhinoplus.com.
The R zone?
You heard it right here on the Iron Sights podcast, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, when you walk into liquor stores and things like that, and you're like, who buys these? A lot of people.
A lot of people. Apparently they do, because I talked to the guy at the other store that was right next to the house, and he goes, "Yeah, man, all day long.
We pay the bills with these things."
Well, I've seen them on that sidewalk as well.
Yeah, out there too. Like, they don't even make it outside the store before they're unwrapped and ingested.
Yeah. Oh no, because I would see that often as well. Some gentlemen, they don't want their partner to know. They don't want their partner to know. They would unwrap all of the wrapping and give it to me. Here, throw this away for me, and I'm gonna put this in my secret compartment in my wallet or in my pocket or something like that. I don't want anybody to know that I'm enhanced.
So what's interesting about this is, like
some guys, it might just get them normal.
CC asked the question earlier about the female side of this, and whatnot. These supplements or these herbal supplements, they can have the same impacts or effects on the females as they do on the men. So ladies, this is not just for the dudes. Like, I get the whole rhino marketing thing, but there's some positive benefit that could happen in the bedroom, specifically for females using these similar products. Maybe a little bit different dosages, maybe not. But there are products out there, that match that. They're just doesn't have a rhino on it.
Blood flow is everyone's friend.
Yeah.
In that department.
Anyway, circling back, I don't know. That's my fault. We got a little bit off track with these things, but I'm sure there's plenty of people on here that are like, "Yeah, I've seen those things. I've seen them.
I've been curious. I've thought about it.
Man, $82.99 for a 20-pack. I'm all over that."
Yeah, that could last you a while, depending on how lucky you get.
Yeah. So listen, going back to test boosting, like let's be honest about this. Like, what are we really looking for there? And what can you get out of these products? Again, I'm just going to put another plug out there, rdfsupplements.com. You can go to the hormone regulating tab there and it will show you. We have a few there, again, that we use here, that we recommend to our clients. I've had really great results, and I suggest, giving it a try. Here's the thing too, like we say this a lot of times with supplements or anything else for that matter, taking a dose, right? One time, you're probably not going to feel a huge impact, right? Like
it's cumulative.
It's cumulative. So it's kind of a buildup and
the entourage effect.
Something like that. Yeah, that's a good one. So that isn't exactly, but that's exactly what I meant. Something like that. So there's a buildup, a cumulative impact here. So it's something you need to make a commitment to, use it regularly, kind of take some mental notes. I don't suggest keeping a journal of what's going on in the bedroom. If you want to do that, that's up to you. But taking some mental notes and understanding like how these things are impacting me at many different ways. And that could be positive or negative. So, don't expect, miraculous results, right out of the gate once you pop the bottle, and start putting this stuff down. It's a regular thing. So, anything you want to add on the SARMs, on the herbal subs, on any of that from the test boosting perspective?
I think just to tie a bow on it, managing expectations is the thing. And I think, as I stated earlier, a vitality booster is maybe a more accurate way to describe these products than an actual testosterone booster. And boosting your vitality, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And as far as the SARMs side of things, you're gambling. That's essentially, some people are gambling people, and they're okay with that. But just understand, again, manage your expectations and, understand that what you are getting, maybe it's LGD,
right.
Maybe it's not. That's the risk you take.